the cocky Yankee fan coming back out. It's like they're popping out of the ground and they're feeling the sun. I mean, I heard a Yankee fan call C-Mac this morning and go, I want the Dodgers because I want to beat the best. And everybody's saying we got an easy path. Well, give us the best in the World Series. Oh, man. Here we go. Of course, we're going to talk about Devontae Adams. 10:07, that trade goes down just like Rob Saleh was fired at 10:08. If the sun collapses into the earth and ends all of civilization, it will happen at 10:07 a.m. Eastern Time. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. I'm doing great. And I can tell you that, for the last 3 months, I've been telling you that they're going to the World Series. They're going to the World Series. They're going to the World Series. And there's nothing that's changed my mind, especially when the middle of that order is doing damage like they are doing. And, one night you got Soto and Stanton hitting home runs. You got Judge finally getting off the schneid, hitting a bomb last night. You have the middle of the lineup actually participating and getting involved and getting key hits. I mean, they left a ton of runs on the base pass last night. They could have done a hell of a lot more damage than they did. But it seems like a walk in the park for the New York Yankees. And they win a game that maybe there was one moment where it got a little uncomfortable when the bases were loaded and Garrett Cole was running out of gas. But they won a game, think about this, when their best pitcher didn't have his best stuff.
Yep.
They won a game when they don't know how to run the bases.
Yep.
And they throw a stat up there and they show you how the Yankees are the worst base running team in baseball. They win a game when they don't have a legitimate third baseman who has no idea what he's doing over there.
He was just a total bleep show out there.
Right.
Last night.
I'm just telling you, whether it be on the base paths, whether it be in the batter's box, or whether it be at third base, the real Jazz Chisholm is starting to show up, as David Sampson would tell you. Mm-hmm. If you remember his comments back when the trade was made, the former Marlins president basically said that Jazz Chisholm isn't the star that you think he is. As a matter of fact, he's mired in a 3-for-23 slump. He's batting $130. He's got 6 strikeouts, and he, like Francisco Alvarez for the Mets, is like an automatic out. And by the way, all he does is intensify the other team. Because of his actions and his words and things. And, like, if I were him, I would just hide right now.
Yeah, he's an antagonist.
He's an antagonist, which is fine. Everybody loves an antagonist. Like, we love Jesse Winker as long as he's producing.
You got to contribute at some point. And I know that I'm not a Yankee fan, and maybe Yankee fans are watching this game differently. But all those things that you said, I'm like, the Guardians aren't good enough to win this game.
There's nobody in the American League that was even close to being good enough.
But even specifically, and you're right, big picture there isn't. But like even specifically last night, like Aaron Boone didn't want to take Garrett Cole out when he wanted to take him out. But he had to, because he wasn't the same Garrett Cole that you saw in Game 4 against the Royals. He was more like Garrett Cole you saw in Game 1.
His offense took him off the hook.
Right, against the Royals. I mean, they're loading the bases every inning. They had the bases loaded, the Guardians. I'm just like, they're going to get out of it. They're swinging at first pitches. They're popping a ball up into the infield. I mean, I think they had 2 foul pop-ups with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs. Foul territory, third base that Chisholm ended up catching. So, yeah, I mean, it feels like a sweep to me. I mean, I haven't.
I don't know about a sweep.
No, I do, man. This is.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
This is Mike Tyson versus Peter McNeely.
Yeah, I mean, this team is built to do what it has been doing. Like the middle of the lineup, and with Judge and those guys, hitting home runs. I mean, like, come on. I mean, I'm sitting there. I'm not a fan. I want the Yankees to win, because I want my prediction to come right.
Sure,
or to come true. But I also want New York to be in the World Series. One of these teams got to be in the World Series. And I want
the Yankees are. Essentially, they are this morning.
Yeah, I know that they are. And I feel like they have been since, I don't know, August. But I don't want to touch the money on the other side of the ledger. That's the thing. I'm very, very, very careful about that. But, yeah, I mean, like, they don't play their best and they still win.
Yeah, I mean, so let's put it this way, though. Whoever comes out of the National League is going to be 10 times better than anything they've seen in the postseason up to this point.
And it should be a very, very good World Series.
Yeah. I mean, whoever it is, whoever comes out of that National League, either one of those teams, I'm taking the team in the National League. That's who I'm taking.
Okay.
Either one of them. Because I think the Yankees are getting lulled into a little bit of a false sense of security.
Well, let's hope for that when that day comes. We can start rooting for that. Right now, we just gotta worry about tonight. As I always tell you, one pitch, one inning, one at bat. Come on now, Let's go.
Yeah, no, I know.
Let's get it going tonight. Let's get Citi Field rocking. It's a little late for you and me to be there.
I don't. It certainly is. I will be going to Game 5, though, which is a 5:08, which is perfect on a Friday. But these 8:08s are a little tough on Wednesday and Thursday. I mean, I will be up watching them, but not being at Citi Field. But I told you a little bit about my regression that is going on.
I know.
And there's like another thing that's happening now.
Oh boy.
There's another thing that's happening is as I'm starting to hear the cocky Yankee fan. Like forever I have been supportive of the Yankees and I still am. And I want them to do well for the radio station and my friends and everything else, and I've gone to some of their playoff games and all that stuff. But when the cocky Yankee fan starts to come out and beat their chest,
yeah.
It just is.
Well, let's just don't want to get it under your skin yet. Until a line has to be drawn.
You know what? I'm gonna in one of the breaks. I'm gonna go have Eddie pull that call because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when the guy calls up CMAC and goes, he's like, I want the Dodgers because I want to beat the best.
That was probably the same guy that called in August and said the Yankees suck. They need to fire Aaron Boone. They need to get rid of Brian Cashman.
Maybe, but that's what fans do. That's what fans do. They're up and down.
We're all beholden in the moment
right.
about what is happening around us. I get that, but I also understand that you talk about overreactions. And now here's the other thing too. Unfortunately, bad news for the Giants with Andrew Thomas, but I would say for the Jets with Devontae Adams. Both the Yankees and the Mets had their swoons this year. And you would have thought that, the managers were going to get fired or guys were going to get traded. And both teams fought through the storm that is the negativity of New York sports. You know what the storm is. We know what it is. We live it. We live it every
blender, as you like to call it.
Well, but it's also a storm. It's
also a storm.
It's like a tornado. You get caught up and you get whipped around, and next thing you know, you wake up and the whole thing falls apart. And maybe Troy Aikman will be right in his assessment of the New York Jets.
Unraveling.
We'll see. I hope that doesn't happen, but I want teams to be successful around here because it's a lot more fun talking about winning teams than it is losing teams. But I don't want to get wrapped up in all the Yankee nonsense with the Yankee fan who wanted everybody fired in August.
Yeah,
as much as I love Brandon Tierney. I love him to death. And we have some of the great drops of all time on this radio station due in large part to his intensity and his emotions when it comes to being a Yankee fan.
Right.
Get your act together. And we all know that Brian Cashman doesn't have the right
to rebuild this team.
And now the team is two games away from the World Series.
Yeah, but
so the point being is that that's the Yankee fan that I don't even want to deal with right now because they all wanted these guys fired.
I understand, but that's everybody. That was me with the Mets early on in the season. That's been me with other teams. We all do this, man. We all do it. You've done it with the Rangers where you've been upset about them and they're not built the right way, and then all of a sudden things start coming together. We all do that. I can't sit here. This is a Stone's glass house situation.
I'm more upset with the league than I am with the Rangers because they seem to have a different set of rules.
But you know what I mean. We all do that. We're upset. I don't blame any fan for being upset when their team is underachieving, especially when you've got the ability to talk about it for 4 hours like all of us do. Mm-hmm. And then if things change, you're happy about it. It's okay. It's all right. I mean, when they were playing like crap, you're mad about it. Well, I mean, if it would be and guys like Brandon Tierney wouldn't be entertaining or fun to listen to if they just sat there and said, things are going bad, but I believe in them. And just moved on and took a bunch of calls, right? So
that's kind of positive, Tommy.
Yeah, but he's like the fourth voice on a 50-man show. So, but Brandon Tierney's name is first on the show.
Yeah, I know.
So you can have a role when you're the fourth guy.
Well, the only reason I'm saying this is because of this activation that you're going through. And what is happening, it's almost like you're going through puberty all over again.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's de-evolution is what's going on. I'm going from Homo sapien back to Homo habilis now.
All right, Homo habilis, but you also have two teams doing it. You got the undefeated Vikings, and now you got the Mets, 3 games away from a World Series.
Which is crazy. And I told you before the last time these two teams that I root for were this good at the same time. It ended in disaster. But it did. But just for context, and it has a New York twinge to it. was back in 2000.
Yes, I know.
Where the Mets made it to the World Series, lost to the Yankees, and the Vikings made it to the NFC Championship game and lost to the Giants 41-0.
24 years ago.
Yeah.
Think about that for
I
a
know.
second.
That's how bad, it's been for some of the teams. And I mean, the Mets have, they've had their moments, and the Vikings have won, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, they dip in and out, and then when they dip in, they generally break your heart and then dip out. But
I remember that dip in and dip out. I remember saying this, I don't know, probably 1,000 times in this radio program. Why can't one of our teams be like the surprise team that shows up? And now
the Giants were in 2007.
Yeah, right. Okay, but
it's been a long time ago.
It's been a long time.
Right.
I mean, and if it weren't for, Plaxico Burress and, Antonio Pierce with the gun issue and shooting himself, they probably would have went back to another Super Bowl.
I mean, they were better. Yeah, they were better in 2008 than they were in
exactly.
I mean, on paper, yeah.
Yeah, but my point is, like, the Mets are that team right now.
Yeah, no, they are. I mean, I know, and I've always talked about how the Giants' run in 2007 was the best postseason run I've ever seen in any sport because of the way that it laid out and how they went into the Dallas and they beat the Cowboys when they were the 1 seed. They went, which is a huge rival. They went into Green Bay when Green Bay was unbeatable at Lambeau Field, and they beat them.
Red cheeks, Tom Coughlin.
Right. And then they beat the undefeated New England Patriots that they took to the brink in the last game of the regular season. It just didn't get better than that. It was better than a movie script. I know you get very sensitive about these things. Let's just say that there is a path right now. There's a path right now, all right?
Yeah.
That is similar to that.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. Bro. I'm just saying. By the way, he broke out the you could change the practice
I know
facility.
he did. Yeah,
I mean, he's played his greatest hits.
It's rinse and repeat.
Right. It was like Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run yesterday. It was amazing.
So anyway, don't forget the Giants had to go on a road and beat Tampa too.
Yeah, in the first week.
Right,
yeah,
right.
but after that.
And the amazing thing about that whole year, as I rinse and repeat right now, is that people in the beginning or in the middle of that season had enough of Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning.
Yeah.
They had enough of them, and then they won this game up in Buffalo. And that was the Ahmad Bradshaw, Antonio Pierce game, I think is how I would describe it, because it was a really bad weather day and it wasn't a great throwing day for Eli. But yeah, I mean, that was an amazing season, an amazing run. And I do concur. That was the greatest single postseason run I've ever witnessed because it came out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, and, if things break a certain way.
Yeah, well, we hope
that's all I'll say.
I quite frankly, the Mets, two things about the Mets right now that I love is that, number one, they're healthy. They have everybody available that they want available. Now, one of those players, Brandon Nimmo's dealing with this plantar fasciitis, which is just it's a pain in the ass.
And it's just hard to get right.
It is, and it's hard to do all the things that you're normally doing. So it'll be interesting to see how significant this impacts the team and some of the decisions they may have to make, either late in games or maybe they decide, hey, we'll just keep him as a DH.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they put Jeff McNeil out in left field. Who knows? What? There's all sorts of potential possibilities here. I think they'll probably keep him in left field for now, as long as he can manage it.
I don't want to see Jeff McNeil in the lineup.
I know that.
And I understand that he would be in the lineup. I would.
The only reason he's in the lineup, the only reason he's on this roster is for in case somebody gets injured and they have a legitimate major league bat and maybe a late inning pinch hitting situation where he can come up and get you a key hit, which it seems like everybody in this lineup has had the opportunity to do. And for the most part, everybody that you've needed to come through has come through late in games.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have a 60% Brandon Nimmo than a 100% Jeff McNeil who hasn't played in a long time.
But just remember, the 60% Brandon Nimmo could cost you in the field.
Well, so could Jeff McNeil if he's playing left field.
Well, all I'm doing is just talking about potential possibilities. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Just please, for the love of God, win one of these two games so I'm not looking at an elimination game that I'm going to in Game 5 because How
about a Dodger elimination game?
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
All right.
That's what I'm looking for.
All right, well, I know we're
because I've
all
seen
looking for
Game
that.
5 eliminations. I was there for the Game 5 elimination Kansas City Royals. I was in Game 5 elimination New York Yankees.
I'm
So like it's in my head. What do you want me to do? It's in my head.
You just got to let it go, man.
Can't let it go.
You got to enjoy the ride. You can't become one of these crazy cockamamie fans that, like, I don't become this when the Rangers go into the playoffs, man. I look forward to it. And I have the agita in my stomach and the anxiety.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm just saying that I've been I was so hesitant to go to the Game 5 because of my past Game 5 experiences, thinking that like I don't want to add another one on top of the list.
You're a grown man now.
I am.
You got
but I'm regressing. I'm de-evolving.
No. You got children.
I'm de-evolving.
Don't let your children see you turn into some sort of
I am caveman Jerry.
Meathead caveman.
I am de-evolving. I'm living outside. I'm making fires. All right, Boomer and
Come
Gio.
on, man. You gotta rein it in a little bit.
I know. I'm trying.
All right,
I'm fighting
please.
against the tide.
Please enjoy the ride,
I'm
man.
fighting against the tide. No, I have been. I mean,
we are somewhere we never thought we were going to be.
I am. I don't want to make
This
it
is
sound
great, and they're playing great, and they're healthy, and they got everybody available that they need available. That's the thing. Like, and they're going to see Bueller.
Yeah.
Bueller?
Right.
Really?
It just.
Really?
Yeah.
Dodger fans have anxiety today. I know one in particular that's probably listening right now, and I know he's got anxiety.
Yeah. I just, you know what it's like? It's like if I were, back in like the dating times and, you thought you had the one several times and it didn't work out. And then you're getting dumped and you've been heartbroken. And then finally, you think you have the one again. And then like you go to hook up and you see something you don't want to see. That's what it would be if things went south.
Twigs and berries?